Hello, a very pleasant good evening to everyone, and it's me, Harshita. So, today I'm going to share my views, what I felt about this book, what I have read from past few days. The book is like this is the book. I think you might have noticed it by this time. It is The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which is written by Robin Sharma. This is so famous that it has been like printed a million copies by whole worldwide, and it is very renowned by many people knew this book. So today, after going through this book, whatever I felt, whatever thoughts provoked in me, I'm going to share those things today in this video. So starting in this video, something like what I want to share is the main characters. So basically, this whole book revolves around only two characters, which is Julian, who is the lawyer, and the second one is the John. Even he is the lawyer. He's junior to this lawyer, where Julian is a famous and he's a such a reputed and a famous lawyer. He's known like in this book. In this book, he is highly reputed lawyer who is known for owning around 7,000 7-figure salary. It's such a reputed person, and under him, this John is another lawyer who joins as a intern or as a junior assistant with him. So basically, between these two people, they what happens is that they will this Julian, he is the guy who has everything whatever a person will think, like a person will aim, will want to like wish for the materials that he want to live in this world. He has everything with him in this book. Like he has a big mansion, he has a big good salary, good amount of salary. He has his own flight, he has everything. He's such a big rich person, but though he's a rich person, he is not happy. Though he's a so reputed person, he is not known to himself. Daily he feels himself as a person who is fainting daily. He's not satisfied from inside. So what happens is that one day, what happens is this Julian, the Julian Mantle, who is a famous lawyer, once dealing with a case in the court, he suddenly faints in the court. He suddenly some heart due to some heart attack maybe, he faints in the court, and suddenly he goes to the hospital. And everything what happens is like totally a clumsiness, a chaos will happen in the court. And even this John, who is the intern, who is the assistant of this Julian Mantle, he suddenly doesn't even expect what is happening, what is going around him. So from that day, this Julian, who was admitted into ICU, he thinks himself, what where I am, why am why am I in the hospital? Though I'm having a 7-figure salary, though I'm having a good amount of salary and good amount of things, whatever a rich person could have, I'm possessing everything. Though I'm having all those needy things, right now I'm completely lack. Why is it so? So from there onwards, the this Julian Mantle, the famous lawyer, will think in that way, and he starts to quit his lawyer job. He resigns his lawyer job, and from there onwards, he starts to lead a new life. He thinks himself to go out of his passion, to go out of his atmosphere, the lawyer region, and he goes out of his country, and he goes in search of his purpose. Why is he leaving? Why is he so unsatisfied? Why is it so? So from there onward, he starts going. He start doing something new, which is different from his past. So from there onwards, without informing his assistant John, also he goes out of his country. He comes to the Himalayas. Before coming to the Himalaya, he roams all over India. every place he sees, every person he meets, every person, the way they are talking, the way they are living, the amount of money people are earning outside, still they are happy. Why is it different for me? In this way his journey goes on, and all over India he moves. And later, at the last junction, he comes to this place called Himalayas, where he comes to know that there exist some sages of Shivana. This sages of Shivana, these people are famous for leading a good life. So he thought that these guys might help me. These guys must be having some life lessons that I could learn in my life, which can help me to be satisfied. So from there onwards, he started to climbing the Himalayas. It was believed that these sages are very rare to be found in the outside world. So these sages are told that they will be living somewhere in the remote side of the whole world. This world is on one side, and these sages are on the. It is known that these sages are on the other side. So this guy, Julian Mantle, he goes in search of those sages, and finally he finds them. After finding, what happens? He pleads them that though I have everything, but I'm nothing. So he wants them to teach him where he is lacking, what is the important thing that he is lacking, which he is required to know. So there they have recognized that this person is having some discontent in himself. So they have approved him to come into their colony. So from there onwards, he has led around 5 to 6 months there, and 5 to 6 months there, and completely after living in such a serene atmosphere and tranquil atmosphere, he comes back to his home, that is Western country, that is Europe. After reaching there, first the person he meets is John. The John who meets him, he was completely startled by seeing his transformation. The old wicked person who used to be very fainted, who used to be very wrinkled upon his faces, who used to be very sad all the time, has suddenly transformed into a young dynamic guy. The kind of shine which was visible on his face was completely different from his past. So this John, he was suddenly startled, and he started to ask, where have you been this long time? Why didn't you inform me? How did you transform into such a young person, and how are you right now? And he completely, and he smiled, and he told with a small voice, gentle voice, that I'm completely fine now. This transformation has made me to live again. This is where I am again. It is his feeling that he's reborn again. So from there, Julian again meeting John, the conversation continues, and those guys after meeting, this guy Julian start to inform him whatever he has learnt in those Himalayas region, how the sages have taught him how to be so pure, how to live a life with up to the mark, how people are able to live such a life with happiness, with joy, and what not, without any things. Those Himalayas are nothing. They don't have any mansions, they don't have any things, luxury things. They don't have huge mansions, they don't have cars, Ferraris, but still they are living a good life. It is where this Julian has noticed that thing, and he started to tell everything to the John. So beginning in this book, like he starts with a small story, which he says that which he says for John to observe keenly. So the story is as follows. The story says that there exists a beautiful garden. This beautiful garden is full of lush green leaves, flowers, tranquil nature. Everything was completely neat and so serene in nature, which gives a good vibes and positive vibes inside a body. And in this garden, there was a there was a tower, a lighthouse, light tower in the center of this huge garden. This light tower, which is somewhere around 6-story tower, and there is a small door inside that. From that door, there comes out a sumo wrestler. The sumo wrestler is a huge guy. He comes out of the door, and he's covered with some. He's completely naked. He's just covered with a pink colored wire. And after descending from the tower, he comes to the garden and he sees something called as a golden stopwatch. This golden stopwatch was light somewhere in the ground, and he thinks that this is something different, which he has to explore, and he bends towards it. As soon as he bends towards the watch, falls down he suddenly falls down with a big huge thud sound. After falling, he gets fainted. As he's huge in weight, huge in size, he suddenly gets faint. But later, as the garden is full of flowers and rejuvenating things, there are flowers, roses, yellow roses, red roses. So the smell of these rejuvenating flowers will give him such a pleasant fragrance, which lifts his soul and helps him to come back to his original position. So that fainted guy will come back to his consciousness, and after that he sees some way right to him, which is full of diamonds. The way is full of diamonds, sparkling with diamonds on its way, and this guy goes in that way and lives such a joyful and happy life, which every guy wants to. So this is the story that Julian tells, and he concludes. John was not expecting this, so it's not having such surprise in it. There is nothing called as weird. It's so common as there is nothing. He couldn't get any meaning from the story. So he asked the Julian, is the story is having any message in it? Why are you telling the story to me? I think it's not so highly unique or highly fictional in nature that I thought there will be some kind of adventure things, some kind of lessons, but it's not having that kind. Can you elaborate why did you tell this to me? And then Julian is like, he smiled gently again. He told with a gentle voice, this story is having many morals to learn. And he start explaining that each and everything that exists in story indicates one symbol in life, which is highly essential for living a good life. Starting with the garden which is so huge and serene with the lush green leaves, flowers, fragrant, uh, rejuvenating things. This indicate your mind is something which is like full of your thoughts. Imagine your mind is a garden. If you start implanting good plants, good leaves, good flowers, it will grow and it will give you a good yield. But what if you have implanted a weed which is unwanted in nature? Ultimately it will give you a negative thing which is not even necessary. So it depends upon your mind. Your garden, which is your platform, it depends upon you which plant you will implant, which sapling you will give. The more beautiful, the more serene, the more essential goods you give, the more yield you will get, the more productivity you will gain. So that is what this garden implies in this story. So from this story, from this garden, he implies that you were what you were what is determined by your thoughts. Your thoughts determine what you are. The type of thoughts you implant in yourself determines who you are. So this is something that is from the first thing, that is garden. Moving on to the next part, which is the lighthouse tower, which was in the center of this whole garden. So it is already known that the lighthouse tower, which usually we see in the seaport areas, which is used to direct the ships which are wandering over in the sea. This lighthouse is responsible for giving a direction, for directing them to go in this direction, to reach the seaport, to reach the destination. In the similar lines, the seaport in this big garden, the what is this? The lighthouse in this big garden implies that implies it directs to your destination, your purpose, where you have to reach. This lighthouse tells about your goal in your the purpose in your life, who you are, why you are destined to, why you are destined, why you're on this earth, for which purpose you are. This purpose is highly necessary for you, so that it will direct you to where to reach the final destination. So every guy should have this thing, that they should have a goal and they have to chase it. That is very important, which is mentioned in this thing. So for building up a goal, how to reach it, it was clearly mentioned in the story, in the book, which says there were two techniques for reaching goal. The first is like, first of all, you have to self introspect yourself, like what you are, what capabilities you possess, what are your weakness, what are your strong strengths. And then upon self introspecting yourself, you will come to know that okay, I'm this, I can do this, this is within my limits, I can achieve it. After self introspection, you'll come to a goal and you will design and fix it. After fixing it, you have to lay out goal a layout, the map, outline, how you have to reach it. It was such beautifully mentioned in this book, with the 5-step process to reach a goal, which says that we should firmly fix a goal. Then after, you should put some positive pressure on yourself. Positive pressure is essential for you to reach the goal. So this positive pressure will help you to get up early in the morning, will help you to get out of your comfort zone and come to the working mode, and start you to help you to go reach your goal. And third thing is that there were, in the similar way, there were three, four, five points totally. So there were 5 stages regarding the goal set, the process to reach the goal in this book. So this is how the light tower symbolizes in the garden. And after the tea tower, there was this sumo wrestler who is coming out of this tea tower, right? So this sumo wrestler who is coming out of this tea tower, he is symbolized with this word called kaizen. This kaizen is a new term in this book, where he learned, this guy Julian has learned it from the Himalayan region people, that kaizen is an art of transforming yourself into a modified version. It says that your outer world depends upon your inner world. How your outside is determined by how you're inside. How disciplined you're outside determines on how disciplined you are inside. So for you to reach this goal, you should have this ability of building up yourself from inside. You should start being disciplined in nature. You should be highly determined. These small things will help you to change your world outside you. So this is what the sumo wrestler indicates in this story. Because sumo wrestler, he is known for having a good fight in the sumo wars. The outer his outer appearance, which we see in those wars, is not so easy. This guy should be able to carry his size, and should put all his strength in that war to win, to fight against the defendant. So everything that he is doing in the outside, that everything that he is doing in that war, in that competition, will come is the result of what he has been practicing since a long time. So this is what the kaizen, which indicates the sumo wrestler in the story. And the next one after it was the pink wire, which was tied to him, uh, to his private parts, which symbolizes self-discipline. This discipline is also essential for every human, and this is highly essential, mm, to achieve a goal. For you to achieve a goal, it is highly important that you be in a self control. This self control, how to be in the self control, is a big question that each and every person have on this earth. So for this also, he mentioned some beautiful techniques in this book, which he says that you are required to do the things you don't like. Let for example, you don't like getting up early, but if you start getting up early, you will see some changes in yourself, that you start feeling yourself in a control. You feel yourself in a self control. And for a guy who is like, who doesn't even like to study, if he starts to study by forcing himself, then he'll come to a control. So the belief that you, if you don't like to do that work, start doing it. It will tend you to be in a control and keeps you in a self control mode. So this is what the pink wire indicates in the story. After that, the wrestler comes down. He sees a golden stopwatch, right? This golden stopwatch tells about the very important commodity, very limited commodity that every person will get on this earth, that is time. The time is such a precious thing that no one can buy it. No one can even no one can even extend it. It is not renewable in nature, it's so limited in nature. And once you, it's like a sack of sand particles in your hand. If you leave it, it goes from your hand. If you if you uh, very well utilize systematically, very well use each and every millisecond of it, the more outcome, the more efficient output you can get. So time, which is highly important, you can't never get, and it is important that you have to utilize it very perfectly. After that, the golden watch, he gets fainted down as he was speaking the golden watch, the third sound. But after falling down, he gets up with the fragrance of those yellow flowers. Those yellow roses implies your contribution, your helping nature, your generosity. See, this garden was full of many plants. So it is him that he wanted to plant a good, fragrant flower, good, positive, rejuvenating flower, and this has ended him up with a good positive energy. It has imbibed such a good energy that it has uplifted his soul, and he again came back conscious. So it depends upon you the type of contribution you give. The kind of generosity you possess determines who you are. So it is something that this red yellow rose flowers imply. After that, the last part, he sees a destination full of diamonds, a road completely full of diamonds, which implies that he's having a he's reaching to his own goal, his passion, his last destination, which he was craving for such a long time. This is what which was mentioned in the story. So this whole story is put up with a small story in it. This story, each and every symbol in the story is indicating something new and something, what the thought, the lessons that each and every person should need in his or her life. So this is what I have learned. And the story is like completely flexible in nature, what I felt, because it depends upon the perspective you read it. Because being a student, I have read it from my perspective. Being a student, I felt such a good vibes from it, very important lessons that I have learned from this. And even an adult can read it. Adult who is working 24 hours a day, who is like having luxurious things, though having those things, but still he couldn't live a life up to the mark. For him, he's highly recommended to read this book. It's such a book, and it's not so it's written in a simple language. So this is what I have learned from this book, and I highly recommend you guys to read this. Thank you.